Here's a video about some clocks. Now, clocks aren't normally a very exciting thing or particularly worthwhile to make a video about, but these clocks are actually a little bit special. These look like your regular old run-of-the-mill battery-operated portable alarm clocks. Nothing special about them. These are actually branded Hoyle, and that's the same Hoyle that today makes card games and stuff. But way back then, they were a division of a company by the name of Brown & Bigelow Incorporated. And Brown & Bigelow is still around, and they sell advertising promotionals like pens and notepads and bouncy balls, probably even clocks and things like that. But if you look at the top of these clocks, they both have a little lens in the top that does something special. Now, these two clocks are largely identical inside. Although they have a little legend down there that says Japan in the display, they are both fully made in Hong Kong. This one on the left has an NEC microcontroller in it, and this one on the right has a reduced cost knockoff microcontroller in it that behaves mostly like the NEC one does, but is a little bit different. Anyway, this clock over here on the left, as you can see, it certainly had some use, and I had to do a lot of work to get it running again. Both of them had the typical, we left the batteries in it for the past 2 decades, leaky battery problem. And this little power plug down here, you have to plug in power for the projection to work, because otherwise it would sap the batteries in really short order. And it's actually an audio-style mini plug as opposed to the more common barrel connector that you'd see on a lot of this stuff. Well, over the years this worked loose. This clock was actually plugged in on my granddad's workbench. The power brick and the clock itself were both very hot because over the years this little trim ring had gotten loose, and it had allowed this power plug to spin around until the wires were shorted out. That made the power brick hot, and it made the clock hot as well. I don't think it would have caused a fire, and it certainly didn't cause any lasting damage, but I had to replace and resolder a lot of wiring in here to get this one going again. I also had to resolder the battery connections so it'd run. This one just needed to be cleaned up, and it looks a lot better. But the unique thing that they do when you plug external power into them, which I'll do right now, I got power plugged into that one, and you slide a switch on the front, and if you look down inside there, a light comes on and you can see some numbers being displayed. That is exactly right. These are what you call projection clocks. They actually can project the time in very big dim letters so they don't bother you at night onto a ceiling or wall. Alright, so now I've got this clock out in the hallway where I can turn all the lights off, and I'm going to demonstrate to you the projection feature if the camera can actually pick it up. If not, I'll have to take some still pictures with the camera on its night mode, because this really isn't a very bright projection. Here we go. Turn the light off. It gets dark in here. And if you look up there, it's very, very faint. This barely shows up. I don't think it's going to show up in the video. But I'll take a still picture of it so you can see what it looks like in the night shutter mode.